Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Fight the spread and take a stand against coronavirus. Wear a mask in public. Stay at least 6 feet apart from others. And get tested. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhec.gov/COVID-19.
How you doing? You are watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor, and it's Wellness Wednesday. And In It Together and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday. And today we're talking about domestic violence. If you need this information, or if you know someone who does, please watch the show. Please share it, because this is important information. Vanessa Guyton is with Hush No More. She's going to join us and tell us about the advocacy that she does with domestic violence victims and survivors. Sharice Branch also joins us. She's with Sister Care. And also, we're being joined by Richland County Sheriff's Department Victims Advocate Morris Davis. Also, today we're going to talk to Erik Vasser. He is actually a survivor of domestic violence. And yes, it does happen to men too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID. We look forward to a great conversation.
Hey, how you doing? Can I
hear
you now?
Okay, great. All right, we're going to talk to them coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. But first, your COVID community updates. DHEC is reporting over 130 new cases of the coronavirus in K through 12th grade students. Now, the student numbers are released twice a week for both private and public schools. Since the beginning, there have been more students than teachers affected by COVID. More funding is available for small and minority businesses plus nonprofits that have been affected by COVID. Applications can be submitted beginning Monday, October 19th through November 1st. The new CARES Act funds from the South Carolina Department of Administration will be awarded between $2,500 and $25,000. Qualifications and contact information is on the screen and will be scrolling throughout the show. And the FDA has added 200 more brands of hand sanitizers not to use. The ban includes products that contain methanol or propanol contamination and sanitizer that doesn't have enough alcohol, making it ineffective. Check the FDA's website for the full list of unsafe hand sanitizers. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date listings of times, dates, and locations for COVID testing in and around South Carolina. Visit scdhec.gov and please check the scroll at the bottom of the screen for more information throughout the show about COVID testings in and around South Carolina. That now includes Florence, Columbia, Orangeburg, also Aiken, Allendale, Camden, Newberry, and Winsboro. There's also information at the bottom of the screen about the DHEC Care Line. Now, you can call that number and get more information about testing and if you need transportation to get a COVID test. If you are unavailable to get transportation, if you're immobile and in your home, can't get around, well, both Richland and Clarendon County paramedics are actually offering in-home COVID tests. Call 911 Monday through Friday for more information. That information is also scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Now, there's also many organizations that are doing free flu shots. This is so important right now because in the midst of COVID, we need to make sure we also are guarding ourselves against the flu. There are events for veterans and non-veterans. And again, that information is right there if you want a free flu shot, courtesy of Prisma Health. You can win some cool prizes just for wearing your mask with the City of Columbia's Mask Up contest. All you have to do is take a picture of yourself in a mask, post it to maskupcolumbiasc.com, get your family and friends to like and share it, and you could be a winner. It's maskupcolumbiasc.com. Now, if you are having some problems paying your rent or mortgage, the South Carolina Legal Association and SC Bar Association have collaborated for a free toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help. That information is there on the screen. Please use it if you need it. The City of Columbia also has a 6-month payment plan if you're behind on your bills, again, due to COVID. You can call the City of Columbia to work out a payment arrangement. And they also have payment assistance where you could get your water bill paid up to 75%. October 31st is the final day to register for the free classes courtesy of the Department of Employment and Workforce. Now, they have classes in both English and Spanish in business, technology, health, data science, arts, and humanities. They're offering these free classes and certifications to get folks back to work. Visit do.sc.gov to register, and the registration deadline is the end of this month. The Richland County Democratic Party is looking for canvassers to leave information at voters' homes. The pay is $15 per hour, which includes training. Now, you must be at least 18 years old, computer literate, and own a smartphone. Email executive director at richlandscdems.com. Share that information with someone you know that may also need a part-time job. Also, absentee voting is still going on, and there are several locations that you can absentee vote. The information is listed on the screen, and don't forget, you don't have to be in that area to be able to vote in that area. So if you don't usually vote at the Garners Ferry Adult Activity Center during absentee voting, you can vote there. So wherever you are in South Carolina, as a matter of fact, you can vote at any of the satellite locations. But whatever you do, please make sure you exercise your right to vote. We talked to Rashonda Pratt a couple of weeks ago, and she had some amazing tips for virtual learners and folks that are at home working. And she's dedicated an entire YouTube channel to it. So please like, follow, share, and subscribe to Rashonda Pratt's online virtual help on her YouTube channel. Also, Brooklyn Baptist Church, Northeast and West campuses, Rehoboth Baptist Church, and also the Lakeview Empowerment Center will start providing free food baskets tomorrow and Friday every week through November. And that's for anyone to stop by and get these free food baskets. Finally, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And if you or someone you know needs some help, please contact the information on the screen. Coping with COVID is airing live on the Tailor Made Productions page. Please go over there and like and follow so you can watch Coping with COVID Monday through Saturday at 2 p.m. and also get all of your COVID-related updates. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Please go over there and hit subscribe. And every Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday, Coping with COVID is also streaming live on the In It Together page on Facebook. Please go over there and check it out and like and follow so that you can get the information you need about In It Together. Finally, Dr. Nancy Richburg is looking for folks to participate in a virtual class this month. Now, anyone in South Carolina can actually register. The information should be on the screen, or will be in just a minute. There it is. Nope, that's not it. But you can email Nancy at sallyrisrx.com. The program is statewide, and it's a year-long Zoom program. So again, if you have diabetes and you'd like to know how to manage your diabetes, you can participate in this free class. We'll give you that information throughout the show. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping with COVID. It's brought to you by In It Together and the Diabetes Advisory Council. Now, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we are providing information and resources for anyone who needs it. Today, we're going to talk to Dr. Vanessa Guyton. She's the founder and executive director of Hush No More. It's a nonprofit organization that provides support services to survivors and training to communities on the hush topics: domestic violence, sexual assault, sex trafficking, child sexual abuse, and incest. Dr. Guyton, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I've been waiting for this day.
Well, we're looking forward to the information that you're going to share, because we know it's so very important. Specialist Erik Vasser is also joining us right now. He is a highly decorated and motivated soldier who has been serving our country for about 5 years. He's a father of 3 and currently stationed at Fort Jackson, and he is a domestic violence survivor. And yes, whatever you thought about before now, it can happen to men, and it does happen. Thank you both so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. So, Erik, tell us your story. You were married to the person who attacked you, correct?
Yes, I was.
All right. Tell us what happened. How long had you known her before you guys got married?
So we had known each other on and off for about a year and a half when I was in the civilian before I actually made the decision to join the military. So we had known each other for a while, and we were on and off, fresh out of high school. I did a semester in college, but college really wanted me, so I ended up just starting, just working, stuff like that. We were together for about a year and a half, and then when I found out she was pregnant, that's when stuff really, really changed.
Really?
Because it was like, okay, you really make enough money for yourself. So now you said what?
Eric, it's really hard to hear you. It's your signal is breaking up, so it's kind of hard to hear you. But we'll keep trying to press through. So you said once I don't know that turn it around. It's gonna help, but we can try that. So once she got pregnant, things started to change.
Yes, so that's where I had to make a decision to either man up or basically move on and just continue living life how I was living. So that's when I enlisted in the military, and he was born while I was in basic. So we didn't get married right off the jump. I came home for Christmas, and we talked about it, but it didn't happen. We didn't get married until that following year. In 2016, we got married in March. So right after that, I got sent to Korea for my first assignment. That was my very first assignment, and I didn't go with my family. I was by myself. So they always say that the first year of marriage is the hardest year. And for me, it really was, because not only was it hard, I wasn't in person, I was gone. So a lot of problems came about, and we still prepped. We made it through the year. I came back, everything was good. Getting prepped to come to South Carolina. We were good. Everything was okay. I had just bought another car, and we were talking about where we were gonna stay. So once I got home and I was able to actually be that hands-on father and that hands-on husband, things were okay. But once we got here and started to get adjusted and things like that, things started to take a slight change.
Right. Let me just stop you for a minute.
Because
no, I was going to just reintroduce you. I was just going to say we're talking to Erik of Vasser. He is enlisted at Fort Jackson, and he's telling us his domestic violence story. So before you continue, Erik, did you not ever, during the dating period, during the time you were overseas, you never saw any anger issues from her? Maybe no attitude issues, no aggression? You saw none of that?
I mean, yeah, I did, but it would be over small stuff. It wouldn't be nothing that we couldn't talk about. I just let her be mad, and we'll eventually talk about it. And then once we talked about it, we'll come to the conclusion. We just wasted an hour and a half of our lives being mad at each other. So it was one of those things where we were always able to get over it and press on. So it wasn't really nothing heavy until I got back. And it didn't happen as soon as I got back, but a couple months into me being back in 2017, that's really where I was able to do my job as a husband and a father, because I was actually back at home every day. I would work in the morning, get off at 5 o'clock, and that was my daily routine. Work home, grocery shopping, whatever we're doing, and I'm back in the house. So, I mean, we had arguments when we first got to South Carolina, but like I say, it was just like when it was in Korea. It was a thing where we'll argue, get over it, and we'll press on.
So, Erik, had she
anything because
had she ever struck you before, pushed, shoved, any hitting, anything like that, in the midst of the argument?
No.
Okay.
No. It never got to that point. We always were.
So she just went from 0 to stabbing. Basically, she just went from 0 to trying to take your life. Wow.
It was just. It happened fast. It was one of those things that happened fast. So fast forward into the event that happened. We had some drinks that night, and I had worked 24 hours the day before, so I was gone the whole entire day the day before, and I was off the next day. So, we had a good day with each other. We spent some time with our son. And then once he went to sleep, that's when we were able to like come together and, have fun, have our time and talking, sit at the table and I guess wind down as, one-on-one time.
Right.
Without our son. So we had some drinks and I'm not a drinker, so I don't really drink a lot. So when I feel the room spinning, I go and I go lay down. I went to lay down. And then once I went to lay down, she came up not too long after me. And we were intimate or whatever. And after that, I started going to sleep because it's like 11 o'clock at night. So, now I can actually get some sleep. So that's what made her mad because she wanted to keep going and I kept falling asleep. So when that happened, I fell asleep. She got out of bed and she came back upstairs. When she came back upstairs, something clicked in my head and told me to get up. And when I got up, she was standing at the end of the bed with a knife in her hand. So when it happened initially, I was like, is this like something like, I was confused because I didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, what do you have a knife for? So she just started mumbling a whole lot of stuff. And I really couldn't make out what she was saying. So I was like, let's sit down, let's talk about this, and, maybe we can figure this out, whatever it may be. And, I didn't try to come at her, like, attacking. I came at her like, babe, we can sit down, we can talk. And I put my hands out, I put my hands out like this to try to, see, talk to her, like, just, come to me, talk to me. And when I did that, she stabbed me in the inner thigh. That's when I got stabbed in the inner thigh. And then that's when I knew it was real. I was like, oh, this isn't a game. This isn't a joke. So I ended up wrapping my leg up, and I got out of the room to wrap my leg up. And I'm downstairs rambling through stuff. I'm trying to find my keys. I'm trying to find clothes to put on. And, I'm trying to get out of the house. Our son was in his room asleep. So he really wasn't, he didn't know what was going on.
And he was a baby. How old is he at this time? How old is he, Eric?
He's 4 now. He was 2 at the time. He was finna turn 3. So the incident happened on the 20th. So I was in the hospital on his birthday. So once I went back upstairs to grab my belongings, she came back.
So you went back upstairs. Okay, so let me.
She locked it.
Because so I'm just, and I know we're on a delay and your signal is a little crazy, but I just want to kind of get the specifics. So she stabs you in the inner thigh, you walk away, you go downstairs. Now, does she follow you or did she stay? Did she stay upstairs?
She stayed upstairs. She didn't follow me.
Okay. And then you go back upstairs to get your keys and everything. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I went upstairs to grab my keys and my cell phone. And when I went back upstairs, she had my phone wrapped around her hand. And she didn't have my keys, but she had my phone wrapped around her hand, dangling from the charger. And when I walked in the room, she closed the door and she locked it. So I couldn't get out. I was hopping around the room. I was hopping around the house anyway.
Now, was she in the room with you or on the other side? Did she lock you in there or the two of you in there?
No, she was in the room with me. We were in the room together. And she was blocking the door, so I couldn't get out. So I tried to get out the window. I tore the blinds down, trying to get out the window. And
so during this whole time, is she running around with the knife? I mean, is she screaming, hollering? What is happening while you're trying to get out?
She's just standing there. She's literally just standing
with the knife, with the knife in her hand.
With the knife. And, anytime I try to move for the door, she'll try to throw a jab with a knife. Like, she wanted me dead, if we been honest. Like, that was her goal. And she started to ask me for my phone code. And before I could say anything, she stabbed me in the chest.
Oh, Lord.
So that's when everything went blank. It was, my body got cold. And and I didn't start bleeding instantly. I was just like in a daze for a second, like what just happened? And I looked down, and it was just like blood. It was just blood everywhere. It
Oh my
just started
God.
coming out, and I was trying to get out. And once she finally realized what had happened, she opened the door, and I was able to get out. And the only thing that really saved me was the fact that I had alcohol in my system, and it slowed my heart rate down. And I was able to get the help that I needed. I got wrapped up, and I got wrapped up, and I got sent to the hospital, and I was there for about a month. It was about a month. I had to learn how to breathe again. I had to learn how to talk. I had to learn how to walk. I had 2 surgeries. It's a whole lot within like, a short amount of time for me. And that was the first time I've ever had anything like that happen to me before. So it was new. And, I had custody taken away from me. So I couldn't see my son. They wouldn't let me see him. They let my parents see him. My parents drove down.
Why did why did they take custody away from you?
So originally they were going off her story because I couldn't tell my side of the story because I was in the hospital. So when she told her side of the story, she made it out as things got
She was defending herself.
Between her and I, and she stabbed me in self-defense. So once I woke up and I talked to the agents or whatever that came by my hospital bed, once they finally put the pieces together, they came to the realization that it was false. And once I told my side of the story, her charges rise. At first they had her aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Then it went up to attempted murder. Once it went up to that, I was able to get my son back and stuff like that. And I was able to work with DSS to, clear my name really, because I wasn't in no way the aggression situation. So I was able to get my son back after I got out of the hospital. They weren't going to give him back to me at first because the judge was like, this is a pretty big boy and you really can't lift anything. So my dad stayed with me for about a year to help me get back on my feet, to get back adjusted to work and things like that. So it was very much an experience that I don't wish on anybody in the world. Like, I don't wish it on anybody, male or female at this point. But
right. Well, Erik, that is a traumatic story. That is unbelievable. I have to ask, do you know, did it ever come out what happened? Did it just click? I mean, does she have some mental illness? I mean, had she been, you said you guys had some drinks, because from what you're saying, you guys were having a great night. You didn't want to be intimate anymore. You just said, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep. And then she came and assaulted you.
It just clicked. It was just one of those things. And, thinking back about it, I remember her repeating, so you're not going to pleasure me like I pleasure you. And she just kept saying that, you know what I mean? So it's just like one of those things. She was mad that I was tired. But like I say, I just worked 24 hours the day before. So I'm dog tired. Like I walked, I worked the whole day. I really didn't see you guys because I was only able to come home for every so often. So it was kind of like she wanted something that I couldn't give her. And, the alcohol played a part. I'm not going to lie. The alcohol played a big part. And that's another reason why I moderate my drinking, because ain't no telling how that situation could have been if we both had been drunk.
And listen, I'm not anything but a journalist. I mean, I was going to say I'm not a psychiatrist, a psychologist. I was nothing but what I do for a living. But I just think you got to have that in you for it to come out. I think, and I don't know. And I'm going to bring up Vanessa and Sharice and Morris in just a few. Well, there's Vanessa. I'm so glad you're okay. You live to tell the story so that you can, and I think he's frozen. Oh no, he's not frozen. So that you can let people know how typical it is. And the other thing is that it does happen to men. Dr. Vanessa Guyton joins us. So Vanessa, I have to ask first, is this a common scenario?
Yes, it is very common. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 7 men. And we always say we think the numbers are more than that, right? Because people don't report it.
People don't report it.
Right. They keep it silent. It's a big hush topic, so they don't report it. But it's very common. It's common for individuals to have a very good relationship, and then all of a sudden it goes wrong. Sometimes it's mental illness. Sometimes it's alcohol. Sometimes they just had narcissistic behavior anyway. Like they just were hiding who they truly were, and it comes out.
That's what I'm thinking, Vanessa.
Right.
I mean, just look, that's why I kept asking Erik. So y'all were having a great time, and then you said, no, I'm sleepy. And then the knife comes next. Something else had to be. That's why I even asked, did he ever see any behavior? Now, he said they've had some arguments and stuff like that. And everybody has an argument. So you can't, I mean, hindsight is 20/20. And like I said, that's why
the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
You have an argument, you don't think that it's going to turn violent. It's like we just don't agree in this moment. You don't ever think that this is a sign that it's escalating.
Right.
When you look back, you can see the escalation, that we were arguing more than we weren't supposed to, or that person had control over me. And as long as I went along with what they were saying, everything was okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to just predict it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Erik, thank you so much for sharing your story. Like I said, good luck. God bless. There is a bright side because you did recover and you remarried, right? So you're on mute. You remarried and things are going well for you now?
I did.
And you have your son. Wow.
Yes.
Whatever happened to your ex-wife? Is she in prison?
So she went to prison. She's out now, and she's actually doing a whole lot better. So
that's good.
I've actually forgave her for everything that happened, and
that's good.
He's actually down visiting her now. He goes to my grandma, and she comes and picks him up, and they spend time together. And they get to dig into my pockets whenever they feel like it. So it's just like. Everything is better. I'm trying to be a forgiver because, I wouldn't want the same if it would have been me. I'd probably be still in prison.
Absolutely.
But
Erik has. No, go ahead, honey. Go ahead.
I didn't want to. I really didn't want her to go to jail that long because of my son. And, had it been me and her, whatever happens. But I had to think about him. Being a part of a Black community, I didn't want to be a statistic, even though I'm a statistic now because I've been in America. Now I'm in another. It's just like I'm not gonna hold her from him because she was a great mom to him. She made sure that she gave him the best of the best because before I went to the Army, she worked every day while pregnant. So it's a lot of good factors that she had that I still. To this day, I give her kudos for because not everybody is bad. She just had a just wrong place at the wrong time, and I moved on from it, and he's good, he's calling, he's happy. So as long as he's got a smile on his face and she's good, and they're together and they're able to build that bond that they had, because like I say, I was gone for a year, so the first year of his life, his mom was all he knew.
Right. Well, before we take.
So
right. Before we take a break and I'll let you go, I have to ask two things. Has she ever come back and said, I apologize? Or two, what happened? Has she ever explained herself or apologized?
So she's apologized more than once. Before she got sentenced, she apologized, and then when she got out, me and her had a talk, and it was about our son. But she actually sat down and she said that she had people while she was in jail tell her that it's a mental standpoint from her. So now you got to check on his mental. You got to make sure that he's okay as a person, because now he's like scarred for life. And she's been that person that she done reached out like hey, how you feeling? How's everything going? So everything's better now. she's bettering herself. You know, she's on her feet, job, you know, car, and all that good stuff. So
has she gotten some mental health help? Have both of you gotten some mental health help?
Oh yeah, I talk to a counselor all the time. I got to make sure I do that because
that's good. That's good.
Want anything to backlash into my new relationship. So, you know, now with me being a father of 3, you know, I got to share the love a lot. I got to spread a lot of love. So
yeah,
you know, it's not about us anymore. It's about me being a father to my kids and a husband.
Absolutely.
To my wife. And you know, that's
your new wife.
So,
yeah, just to make that clarify, you remarried.
My life is
yeah. All right, Erik Vasser.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
thank you so much for joining us and for being courageous enough to share your story. It's an amazing story. And we'd love to have you back on when the internet is cooperating better for you to talk a little bit more about it. But Erik Vasser, thank you so much for joining us. Yes, it is. It is essential. So Coping with COVID and In It Together presents Wellness Wednesday from the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And when we come back, Dr. Guyton will rejoin us. And we're going to be joined by Sharice Branch with Sister Care and Morris Davis with the Richland County Sheriff's Department Victims Advocacy Department. They're going to join us to provide information, resources, and support if you or someone you know is dealing with domestic violence. That's next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor.
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
I know what most people think. If he broke my jaw, I would just leave. But it's more complicated than that. There are days when you tell yourself to go. Go, just go. But when you get in that car, you freeze. You think, oh my God, I can't access the bank account. Oh my God, I literally have nothing with my name on it, not even the credit card in my wallet. Oh my God, I'd have to quit because he knows where I work. See? Not that easy to leave, is it?
It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and if you need some resources or services, please contact the information on the screen. I'm Tre Tailor, and you're watching Coping with COVID. And listen, if you have diabetes and would like to know how to keep your diabetes manageable, Dr. Nancy Richburg is looking for you to participate in a virtual class this month. Now, anyone in South Carolina can participate in the class, and if you are interested in this statewide program, please contact the information on the screen. The program is statewide, year-long, on Zoom. Coping with COVID and In It Together presents Wellness Wednesday from the Diabetes Advisory Council. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we just heard from Erik Vasser, who shared his story of domestic abuse at the hands of his former wife. Now, let's share some additional resources and information if you or someone you know is in that position. Dr. Vanessa Guyton rejoins us. She's the executive director of Hush No More, an advocacy group that helps in domestic violence situations, among others. Morris Davis is a victims advocate at the Richland County Sheriff's Department. He's been employed with the department for 25 years and was called to become an advocate in 2009 after working on a case involving a severe domestic violence issue. And Sharice Branch is with Sister Care. The nonprofit organization provides services and advocacy for survivors of domestic violence and their children. Thank you so much for joining us today. Erik's story was an amazing, incredible, heart-wrenching story.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
Yeah. So, Morris, let me ask you first. Do you see a lot of male Do you see a lot of this? What Erik is describing and describe?
Actually, like we were told, it's 1 in 7 when it becomes when we're speaking of males. So we don't see that many. I think in my career working as an advocate, I may have one male story that was a domestic dispute issue, but for the most part, it's mostly women.
Yeah, I'm just glad that, and look, that the male pride didn't get in the way and he was able to get some help. And that's why I asked him, is he still getting some mental help? Because listen, I don't think you need to go through a domestic violence issue to get some mental health. But if you have gone through some trauma, you definitely do. You know what I mean? Listen, I say on this show all the time, there's not a 13th of the month that I miss my sitting on the couch with somebody. So I'm just dealing with regular life. So listen, let's talk about what are some of the signs. What are the signs of domestic violence? Sharice, do you want to jump in here?
I do want to say I do commend the young man for coming on. I do know somebody personally, a young man who was shot, and a young lady shot herself, and he survived. He goes around, he speaks about domestic violence and so forth. So just grateful to have him around and sharing his story, not being ashamed and those type of things. And when I go speak, it's so funny. When I speak and I look in the audience, I can see the ones who are affected. Their heads are like down the whole time. And when I walk, I'm engaging and I go in the room and I'm saying, if you're going through this, we're here for you. Trying to let them know that you're not alone. You're not by yourself. We won't judge you. But it's so, I could tell those who have experienced it or who have been around it, how they feel when the conversation is being had or we talk openly about it. So I'm just glad that we have those platforms that we're doing now. All of us are here sharing and let people know that you're not alone, that you're not by yourself, and that we do believe you. Some people, they're not going to believe me if I tell them, that we do believe you. So there are a lot of signs out there.
Yeah. So what are the signs, Vanessa? What should people be looking for? Whether it's me looking at it from the outside, looking in for a family member or a neighbor, or if you are actually experiencing it, because it doesn't have to be solely physical. It could be verbal, which is the other reason why I asked him, did he not see any concerning behavior?
So we always look at the physical mostly, but it's emotional when they're just making you feel bad about yourself, making it seem like you're not doing nothing right, when they're just controlling you, when they're controlling your finances, the financial abuse, that's a big one. The spiritual abuse, when they're using your religion against you. Those are some of the ones that we don't talk about. When they're putting you down, when you're just not happy in your relationship, when they don't let you go and come as you please, when they don't want to allow you to get a job, when they're looking at your cell phone and need to know your password, your emails, and they checking your phones and checking where you are, or even when they put a tracker on your car. Like I know some women who have told me their husband have trackers on their car. So those are things to look at when you don't have the freedom that you should have, when they're like you're property, like you're their child, or they get very jealous when someone speaks to you and they act out, and when they just want to treat you, your children, or your pets wrong. So I tell people how they treat your pets, because they look at different things around you and try to control everything around you, including your family.
So, Mars, Vanessa just talked about several signs. When does the police get involved? When do the police get involved? What has to happen? Because we see the signs, and then I think the abuser doesn't know what to do next. And I want to get to that, but I do want to know, at what point do the police get involved?
The police gets involved at the point of the report. Okay, they have to report it. That's the hard part, Trey, is getting victims to report these crimes. Let me just kind of let everybody know that's listening what domestic violence is, because we're talking about it, but they may not understand exactly what it is. But it occurs when one person in an intimate partner relationship uses abuse to gain or maintain power and control over their partner. And that can become in various types of ways. Financial. There are some people who control the finances. I've seen that. One of the major things they do is alienate a person from family, because your family, is your support system. So if they can alienate you from your family, that control over you. Eric's situation is a little different. With he said that he didn't have any kind of signs. He didn't see any. But most of the time you see, because it starts out with the alienation from family, it becomes verbal, it becomes physical. When I say physical, it doesn't have to be a punch. It could be a push, a
grab.
Yeah, a grab. So a lot of people don't understand. Well, he didn't strike me in the face. Well, it doesn't take them to strike you in the face for it to become a domestic situation,
because it can escalate to that, right?
It's going to escalate to that. But the part that we're faced with is just getting them to report the incident. I ask them all the time. I say, well, how many times has this happened? And I always get numerous times, but they just got the courage to make that initial report.
Yeah. So when a woman or a man starts to see the signs, what steps should they take? Is that the step, like we just saw the PSA, with the woman that says, I don't even have any money. He knows where I work, that kind of thing. Right. So when you start seeing the signs, should you start making preparation?
Well, and see, the hard part is when you enter a marriage or relationship, you say your vows, it doesn't mention anything about domestic violence. And so nobody has a get out of a domestic violence situation plan.
Right.
And
but maybe you should. That's why I'm asking.
Oh Lord,
maybe you should.
Yeah,
maybe you should.
Maybe you should.
Listen, you got a prenup. You don't know these people. I'm not.
Well,
I'm just saying.
To put that in their vows now, but
right.
Sometimes you have to have a plan. You might have to have that exit plan. Now, unfortunately, South Carolina used to be number 1. I think we're number 7 now.
Right.
We still top 10. We're number 7. We're number 7. We got to be happy about.
You talked about a safety plan. I do talk to, when individuals call us, sometimes you just need somebody to talk to that's judgmental, that won't judge you. So you call an organization just to talk to somebody, just to see what are some signs, just to have somebody to give you that support, that love, that care here. You can't tell your family or your friends because you're going to be judged. You're embarrassed.
Right.
And so we'll come up with a safety plan. What are some things you can start putting in place? Like have you and your children birth certificates together, your social security cards together, having a place that you got an extra set of clothes over a friend.
Right.
Or what are some things you could do to start saving money to properly get out of your situation? Because sometimes you might not be ready, but the day that you become ready, how can we already have a plan in place? And so that's one of the good things about talking to resource organizations about what do I do? Just to have somebody to help you get the courage and to give you knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more easier it is to leave, which is hard anyway, but knowledge empowers you.
And that's why I was asking, Vanessa, once you see these signs, and I know you are dealing with a bevy of emotions, but, instead of just saying, okay, today's the day, like you said, we've got to have a plan. We've got to have your information in order. Have talked to Sister Care, Hush No More, whomever, even the Richland County Sheriff's Department, and said, I'm thinking about doing this. Can you help me get ready? So what about families? How do families and friends get involved? How do we support people who are going through this? Anybody?
I would say not to judge. We, like you said earlier, Vanessa was talking about judging, how you go to your family and say, why you just don't leave? Or they say, if I was you, if I was you, you say that because it's not you. So we judge so freely, especially in the Black community. Girl, just hit them back, or all these things that we get this bad advice to give a listening ear, like Vanessa said. Make sure you're there for them if they need you. They might call you in the middle of the night, say, I need a place to stay. If you could put them in a hotel or whatever you can provide for them, but not to be judgmental. You don't know the situation. And I know with me working with this for the last couple of years, the sad part about it is we can't help everybody. Everybody can't be saved, which is really the sad part about it. But somebody watching this today, it could be you. Yeah. You could be the one to take the first step and do what you need to do to get out. It's not the end of all. Yeah. You could get out. You can get out. You can get out.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I use the acronym GIVE. So this is what I talk to our friends, family, our community. You should be gentle with people when they come and tell you, because it is the hardest decision that they ever have to make, right? You should be interested in what they have to say. I don't care if they came and told you 5-6 times that this is happening, they're ready to leave. Be interested, because they need you to love on them and validate how they feel, because they may be feeling really bad. This might be the worst situation. Encourage them. Say, it's understandable that you're feeling this way. And then you want to always be encouraging. So I always say, use the acronym GIVE. Encourage them, love them, and ask them, how can I help you? And what do you need from me?
Right.
You don't have to say nothing else except how can I help you, and what do you need from me? And sometimes it's just, I just need you to listen, or I need you to go with me. And do what they need you to do, and not put your own opinion on them, because it's very for them.
And you're right. I hear you, Vanessa. So you're saying don't get an opinion on the person or on the person's mate. Just don't even talk about that. Nope. Just focus on what can I do for you. If they want to talk about it, that's fine. But you're right. The last thing we need to do is start saying, girl, you, or why don't him, or something. Right. Right. Mr. Davis, you were going to chime in here about something?
A lot of times families kind of get discouraged or just tired of dealing with it. We all know someone in our family or in our circle of friends who have a domestic issue. And, we've told them a million times, look, you need to leave. You need to get out of this, don't go back. If I were you, and like you said, you're not them. So I don't want families to just give up so quickly because they're just tired of the situation. You're that support group for them. And when they lose you, it may be that day you tell them, you know what, I don't want to hear it. And that could be the day when they needed to be
They're
there.
ready.
And something violent happens. And then you're going to look back and say, wow, I wish I just, had not given up on them so quickly.
What resources are available for those folks who are in domestic violence situations? Housing, finances. What resources are there available?
Well, with us, when we have a victim, one of the resources that we pitch out to them is sister care. We're very fortunate with the Richland County Sheriff's Department to have sister care working with us in-house. We have 2 sister care employees. So when we get them, immediately after I explain to them with the sister care what it's all about, I give them a call and I say, look, can you please call this victim? And they'll call them right there, because the problem in the past is if I have a victim on the phone and I tell them I'm going to have sister care give you a call, okay? If I lose them on that phone, when I hang up, chances of me having them, change their mind about sister care, it's going to be very high. But when I go next door and say, hold on for 1 minute, and I can get sister care while I have them on that phone, immediately make contact. Because in a situation like that, time is of the essence. If you give them time, a victim think about it, they may choose to say, you know what, I don't want to leave. I'm going to, endure this. So we try not to give them that opportunity to even think about it. We put them right in touch, with sister care immediately.
Michelle Harris wants to know, what advice do you give someone who wants to leave, but they maybe have a chronic illness, for instance, like diabetes? Is that anything that different that you would tell them?
Anything different that I would tell them?
Anyone who wants to chime in.
Not really. I mean, having an illness, I mean, we could, and I don't want to speak for sister care, but, if they have that and they go to these shelters, I'm sure that they're set up to, to care for them and either to get them to the hospital or.
We don't. Right. I'm sorry. We do help them to connect with their own doctors and physicians. We don't per se, give them medication and so forth and so on. But if they need, rides to the hospital or anything like that, we do provide those for those victims. So if you have an illness or anything wrong, we will make sure that you still get shelters. The shelters are at the local hotels in the different areas. We still have those available, but you can still get help from sister care. You can still get help, get out. Yeah.
And for us, we look at it from a financial perspective, because if you have a chronic illness and your spouse has the insurance, that's a major problem. So sometimes we have to work and see if we can get you Medicaid, or we can get you to a free clinic in order to still be able to treat you, because if you're leaving, sometimes you're leaving with insurance. You're leaving that
Everything.
person going to be paying that copay. So we look at the parameters of it, especially from a financial standpoint, and we come up with a plan of how we are going to ensure that you have medical treatment as well once you get ready to leave. So that's something that's part of your safety plan right there. We have to go through and actually come up with a strategy of how we're going to manage this. And it's different for every person.
Yeah. So I want to talk, and thank you, Michelle, for your question. So what about when do the police get involved, Mr. Davis? Does an actual act of violence have to happen before someone pick up the phone and call you?
Well, we would like for them to make that police report because it gives us, the go ahead to either get an investigator assigned to that case if they go out on the scene, and most of the time, it's when a line unit go out there, the suspect is normally not there. Okay. But we, there are signs of abuse or of a domestic situation. We look at signs of the house being in disarray. We look at, marks that may be there, and there may not be any marks there. So we come back and take photos the next day because marks can come in the day after. So we try to get them assigned an investigator to investigate the case, to get all the PC necessary to get a judge to sign a warrant for the person's arrest. And on the advocacy part, to get that victim the help that they need to show and tell them the resources that are available. But for us to get involved, we encourage that incident report. I know it's hard, to do so because you have to realize how big of a step it is for someone to finally say, I've had enough.
Oh yeah.
That's the problem. It's the abuse has happened 20 plus times, but it only takes that one report, and it takes a lot of courage, and we have to understand this. It takes a lot of courage and willpower for that person to finally say, you know what, I've had enough. Let me get the police involved.
Right.
So just encourage them, regardless of what the situation is, pick up the phone, give us a call.
Yeah. All right. And what do they call 911 or do they contact?
You can call 911. They can come to our headquarters, 5623 Two Notch Road, or they can come to where I'm located, which is off of Garners Ferry, Pineview. It's 1931 Pineview Drive. Come here, ask for me directly. I'll sit you down. I'll do the police report for you, and I'll, advocate for you. So
that's right.
We're actually a one-stop shop. Just give us the opportunity to assist.
Right. Your information is on the screen. So if anyone needs it, please contact Mars Davis of the Richland County Sheriff's Department Victims Advocacy Program. Sharice, what about over at Sister Care? What do people need to do? And then I'll come to you, Vanessa, as we wrap up the show. What do people need to do if they need the resources that Sister Care provides, and when?
And contact sistercare.org. Like you said, the police report is really, really important to have that in your documents and record, as Vanessa says, to make sure we have all those things together. So if they go to court advocacy for you, they have that in place to fight for you when you get to that point. But they do offer like I said, the shelters as well. Offer counseling is also available during this time as well. They do via conference calls like we're doing now. Counseling is available for the families and for friends. If you just want to do that, have somebody to talk to, the lines are open 24/7. They always have people available to talk to you at that point. So it's just there. And it's good to have a support, like he's saying, you're not alone. Because sometimes you feel like I can't go to my family, like we talked about earlier. I can't tell my mom, my sister, whoever, but people are here to support you. I just want somebody to get that. You have support. You're not on your own, to be able to talk to you, to help you through your process.
Yeah, we're in the midst of COVID, and I know there have been an increased concern.
It has.
On the domestic violence and child abuse situation, because people are, and even though we're not quarantined anymore, people are still being told to limit their movement. So Vanessa, So Vanessa, what can you say for folks who may be experiencing that, and what resources are you able to provide?
So the resources that we provide is free counseling. We do it in person or virtual if that's better for you. And you don't have to have a police report. So our counseling will start beforehand because some people still need that.
I didn't mean to say you had to have one to get counseling. I hope I didn't come across saying that you had to have one to get counseling. Okay, I just want to make sure I was clear that you have to have police report to get counseling. You can get counseling without a report. Okay, that's what I make sure it's clear. All right. Don't get me in trouble. Okay.
No, you're not gonna get in trouble.
My bad.
Our goal is to help you come up with a safety plan, an exit strategy. We just listen. If you just call us and just want somebody to listen to you, if you're getting to the point where you're a survivor and you're ready to speak, we offer you training to help you start talking about it, because we believe that awareness plus knowledge equals prevention. We also do training in the local community. So if you want us to come to your church, talk to your youth group, we'll come out and do some training for you. We do art therapy, writing therapy. We have like spoken word. We're doing a domestic violence walk on Saturday. So we try to do events where you could come and actually not focus on what you're going through. You know, we do a lot of virtual stuff and just trying to have fun, but also talk about a serious topic. So that's what Hush No More is about. And we also find the right resource for you, because every resource is not the right resource for you.
Right.
In your community, we find a good fit for you, because resources are readily available, but all of them are not for you. So let's find the one that is for you. And so that's what we do too, because we work internationally. So we find resources all over the world that you can go to where you feel comfortable. And so that's our goal of Hush No More.
All right. Tell me about the walk quickly.
So our walk is this Saturday at 8 a.m. It's going to be at 27 Newburgh Drive in Columbia, off of Forest Drive. You could go to our website and find the link at hushnomore.org. And it's going to be a great morning. We're going to walk. We're going to just love on each other. We got vendors, resources, a DJ. So we're just going to have a great day, just bringing awareness and loving on survivors and paying tribute to them for coming forward and deciding to hush no more.
Awesome. Send me that flyer so we can push it out for the rest of the week. Yeah. Dr. Vanessa Guyton with Hush No More, Sharice Branch with Sister Care, and Morris Davis with the Richland County Sheriff's Department Advocacy Program. Thank you all so much for what you're doing in the community for those men and women who need it, and for those folks who are trying to support, navigate supporting those folks who need it. If we can flash the information up for each one of those folks one more time, please, 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 if you need these resources, if you need the information, please call, please email, please reach out so that you can move through this time. If you are trying to support someone that is dealing with it, please call and find out what resources are available so that you can also help your loved ones. Thank you again, guys, so much. I appreciate you joining us today on Coping with COVID. Have a great afternoon.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings to you, to all of you. Thank you. So if you have a story that could help someone cope with COVID, please inbox me at the Tailor Made Productions page on Facebook. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwithtreitailor@gmail.com. The information should be scrolling, copingwithtreitailor@gmail.com. And we would love to talk to you about how you could be a part of coping with COVID. You could be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together, the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, also the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, and Palmetto Media Connections. Hey, coming up tomorrow, we're going to talk with Dr. Tasha Boone. We're actually going over to her office on Sunset. She's going to talk to us about COVID and about the flu. That's tomorrow on Coping with COVID. Faith Friday with Charles Jackson Jr. with New Laurel Street Baptist Church. And Saturday, we're going on a motorcycle ride with the Sharp Iron Riders Motorcycle Club. They are cycling with a purpose, and we're going to be with them live on location. And then next week, we're going to talk with some of the candidates for Richland School District 1 and 2 School Board. That and more coming up on Coping with COVID. Let me remind you that if you're looking for a diabetes prevention program that you can do from home, then contact pharmacist Nancy Richburg. The information is on the screen, Nancy at salubrisrx.com. Now, she is currently recruiting for a class that will begin soon. Classes will be held virtually on Zoom. Go to salubrisrx.com for more information on the In It Together Diabetes Prevention Program with Dr. Nancy Richburg. I typically leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. Today is no different. Today is October 14th, I do believe, and Jesus is saying for us to be prepared to suffer for me. in my name. All suffering has meaning in my kingdom. Pain and problems are opportunities to demonstrate your trust in me. Bearing your circumstances bravely, even thanking me for them, is one of the highest forms of praise. This sacrifice of thanksgiving rings gold-toned bells of joy throughout the heavenly reigns. On earth also, your patient suffering sends out ripples of good tidings and ever-widening circles. When suffering strikes, remember that Jesus says, I am sovereign and that I can bring good out of everything. Do not try to run from pain or hide from problems. Instead, accept adversity in my name, offering it up to me for my purpose. Thus, your suffering gains meaning and draws you closer to me. And joy emerges from the ashes of adversity through your trust and thankfulness in Jesus Christ. That's your Jesus Calling for today, October 14th. Thank you again so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. Until the next time, as Vanessa said, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Be careful, stay safe, and please wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. See you guys tomorrow.
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.